What are the costs of living in Toronto? How much income do you need to live in this great city? Look, it ain't cheap, but having traveled to 30 countries plus and tons of other major cities and still ultimately choosing to lay roots in Toronto, I'm going to give you a perspective and the numbers from someone who wasn't born in Toronto and why I chose to make this my home. I'm going to break it down for you in both a young person, a single, and also a family to see what the costs are in this video. So make sure you stay tuned. Now, if you are looking for some help on how to buy the right first home for you and your family in Toronto, you can book a call with me using the link that's right here. It's www.chatwithzen.com. Simply click on the date and the time that works best for you. And then when you see the prompt, fill in your name, email, mobile phone number, and the question you have for me, and then we'll chat then. Good day, Toronto. Welcome to another episode of Prime Properties TV. My name is Zen, and I run and operate a RE/MAX in the greater Toronto area on top of making awesome educational content just like this one for you on YouTube. Now, if you found any of these videos helpful in your real estate journey, whether it's buying your first home, your investment property, selling your home, or just general curiosity about the real estate market, help me spread the knowledge by smashing that like button and subscribing to the Prime Properties channel, because that allows me to get my information and knowledge out there so people know how to navigate this wild thing about that is the Toronto real estate market, right? Anyways, thank you for that. Now, here's the TLDR, which is too lazy didn't read explanation of the cost of living in Toronto. It's not cheap, right? But I would say it's very reasonable for what Toronto has to offer. And I would consider Toronto a very, very well-valued city compared to a lot of the other major cities I have visited myself personally, right? So if you're looking to move to Toronto and buy your first home, or you have already been in Toronto and you're looking to lay some roots here like myself, in one I would say is one of the best cities in the world, you can book a call with me using the link that's right here. It's www.chatwithzen.com to discuss your personal situation in detail about what you need, what you're looking for, and why Toronto is awesome. It totally is, right? Despite all the people saying how not awesome it is, it's great. Now, I'm going to break down the cost of living in Toronto for you and how much income you need to sustain that living in Toronto. And I'm also going to break down the cost of living in both these scenarios, whether a young single person getting started in your career, a young professional, or if you're planning to have a family or you already have a family, right? So if you want to jump straight to the family part, I will put a timestamp right here for you. So let's get started with the housing, obviously, with a one-bedroom condo, which is what a lot of young people are getting. So it's approximately 500 square feet, and you're looking at like $550,000. Or, for some people, it's called a flat. Now, obviously, location matters, and it can change the price, but this is probably what you're paying if you're a little bit outside of the downtown core, which, again, I'll put on the map here if you're not familiar with where the downtown core is, which is basically south of Bloor, between these two lines. Now, if you do go into the downtown core and you want to be near a lot of transit, meaning subway, you can expect the starting price of this 500 square feet condo, the one bedroom, to be about $600,000 plus as of right now. Obviously, the cost of this home varies depending on how you finance it, because we look at the monthly payment. And if you're looking to lay roots in Toronto, you can expect to finance this in two ways. The first way, which is the minimum down payment on a $550,000 purchase, which is 5.5% or around like $30,000. Or you can do the conventional way, which is 20% down payment or about $110,000. Now I'm going to keep the numbers running on this side for you on the screen. Now, if you are putting the minimum down payment, let's call this scenario one, you're looking at about $2,900 a month at the current interest rate, which is around like 4.3 for that type of payment. Now, if you're putting a conventional down payment being 20%, let's call this scenario two, you're looking at $2,300 a month at about 5% interest rate. Yes, they vary depending on the down payment you have. That's Canada for you. Now, with this condo, you also have maintenance fee, which is approximately $400 a month. You got property taxes on this, which is about $200 a month or $2,400 a year. And most condos would generally have gas and water included in the maintenance fee that you're paying for, around $400 a month. So essentially, you're paying for electricity, or in Toronto, we call it hydro. Yeah, I know it's confusing, right? Hydro. So that's about $100 a month, give or take. Now, if your condo doesn't have water and gas included in the maintenance fee, that's probably a lower maintenance fee, but you're looking at maybe $80 a month combined for the two of those. Then you got insurance on the condo, which is about $20 a month. You got your cell phone bills for living, which in Canada is about $50 a month. A lot of deals all over the place. Groceries obviously will vary depending on kind of like how expensive and whether you cook or not. And since you are living at home, but if I were to break it down at a very basic grocery store, your average is like maybe $150 a week or $600 a month, maybe less, maybe more, depending on your cooking, right? And what you eat. And if you were to go out for friends, call that an entree, a drink, tax, tip. Yeah, it's expensive right now in Toronto, like 60, 70 bucks maybe right now, depending on where you go. So if you go out 4 times a month, once a week, you're looking at maybe like 250 bucks a month. So tack that over there. And of course, this can balloon up or down depending on your lifestyle and where you go, right? And lastly, transportation a month, you're looking at the TTC, which is our public transit system, or the Toronto Transit Commission. And the monthly pass is about 150 bucks right now. Now, there are obviously other options to move around the city, such as shared biking that can start at like 50 bucks a month, or there's car sharing depending on how much you use it. And that varies, right? Now, I'm just not going to put that there. So how much income do you need to roughly make all this happen? Let's assume you have a 20% saving rate, meaning you'd save 20% of your income. You're looking at like $90,000 before tax in scenario 1, or $71,000 before tax in scenario number 2, right? So the real question is, how do you get that down payment? That's the toughest part. And this has always been the challenge in the last like 5 to 10 years, give or take, right? So now let's break down the numbers as if you have a family or planning to start one, right? So let's start with housing again. Here are some assumptions. You're going to need a 3-bedroom home in case you need work from home, 2 kids, whatever, right? You want at least 2 washrooms plus, right? A third is always a bonus. And you have a dedicated parking spot because you need to move the baby around, maybe SUV, right? So let's start in Toronto, and you're looking at a 3-bedroom town or semi, you're probably looking at $1.25 million. Yep. You're going to need $250,000 down payment for this. This is the minimum amount because you're over $1 million. And the style of these 3-bedroom home ranges from like 100-year-old homes all the way to stuff that was recently built with smaller lots in the last 15 years. Now, if you go outside of Toronto into the suburbs, you can still get this style of home that's a little bit newer, and you can still get away with a $999.99 or $1 under $1 million kind of town home. And you can find these homes in like Mississauga, Brampton, which is on the west side, the Peel region, or if you want to go further west, you can get this in Milton in the Halton region, right? That's about an hour drive into downtown core, give or take traffic. And if you go north, you can find these homes in Newmarket and Aurora in the York region. And if you go east, you can find these homes in Ajax, Pickering, Whitby, Oshawa, which is the Durham region, which is the east side of like downtown Toronto. And when you're under $1 million, you can still put less than 20% down, unlike buying a 3-bedroom home in Toronto. So the minimum down for this, call it $1 million townhome, is about $75,000, which is why I included in this scenario and this example. So here are the numbers. If you were to be in Toronto, let's call it scenario 3, very original. You're looking at $5,300 a month in mortgage. Note that the down payment is $250,000, but most people do not start with a 3-bedroom home. Most young families are selling their condos that they bought years ago, and they have a larger down payment, after selling their condo from like scenario 1 or 2 that I talked about earlier. Now, property taxes on this property is about $325 a month. Now, if you were to buy this 3-bedroom home in the suburbs, you're still looking at $5,300 a month in mortgage. No, this is not a typo. It's because the type of financing and the down payment changes that amount. Now, we have a lot of first-time clients who buy their first home via scenario 4, what I just talked about in the suburbs, the 3-bedroom town, because it requires minimum down of $75,000 down payment as opposed to $250,000. Now, the property taxes in the suburbs are a little bit higher than Toronto, so you're like at $350 a month. But everything else from here on out is more or less the same, right? So your electricity, or hydro, is $175 a month, give or take, a little bit higher in the summer when you need air conditioning, a little bit lower in the wintertime when you don't need air conditioning. Water is like $100 a month, maybe more if you have a lot of grass you have to water. Gas averages like $150 a month, or even more in the wintertime because of heating and less in the summertime. So home insurance about $75 a month. Your cell phone bills for 2 is about $100 to $130. I'm just put $130. Groceries are about $1,000, including maybe baby food. Going out, I just double what it was from scenario 1 since it's 2 people and maybe a kid. Now your car payment, I just put $400 a month because whenever I think like the average car for whatever reason, no shade at this car, I just think of a Honda Civic. And I don't know why. So a Honda Civic right now, your financing is about $400 a month, brand new. So your car gasoline, so gas for a car, is approximately $100 a month, assuming like one person needs to commute and go to work, the other person maybe doesn't need to go to work or works from home or is on mat leave, right? So $150, totally reasonable. Insurance on that car is about $125 a month. And if you need daycare, which is kind of like the biggest variable, if you have a baby, you're looking at maybe $900 a month if you have the CWELL-CC program, which is the subsidy for the daycare, right? And assuming, your daycare Montessori that you're putting your kid into is enrolled in that program. Otherwise, it's more. So this means you're looking at a monthly amount of like $8,500 of after-tax money. So like the first two scenarios, assuming a 20% savings rate, you have about $127,000 in both scenario 3 and 4 of after-tax money to make it in Toronto, which equals about $180,000 before tax. Honestly though, it's probably less because it's 2 people making money and it's probably a lower tax bracket with 2 people at less than $90,000 as an earner as opposed to one big 180. Again, the hard part is where the down payment is coming from in both scenario 3 and 4, right? But we have seen many hardworking new immigrant Canadians, especially a lot of our clients with like a Desi background, start to make the Canadian dream happen right away. It takes a couple of years to save up that $75,000, but they're off to the races once they buy the first home. Now, without getting into the whole affordability topic in this video, this is most definitely achievable for a lot of hardworking young Canadians. But is it possible for everyone? The short answer is no. It's just unfortunately no. This is why the ownership rate in Canada is shrinking, and it's shrinking faster even in Toronto. In Canada, the ownership rate is like give or take 60% at the moment from the latest statistics. And here's a fun fact. The median income in Toronto is $96,700 a year, which means half the people make more than that $96,000 and the other half make less. Funny fact. That's exactly how both the condo scenario 1 and 2 and the family scenario 3 and 4 exactly pan out, $90,000. I don't think it's a coincidence. I don't. Anyways, I hope this gives you an idea of the cost of living in Toronto at the moment right now when I'm shooting this video. And if you are looking for some help on buying your first home and you want some proper guidance on which areas to pick from, you could book a call with me using a link that's right here. It's www.chatwithzen.com. Until next time, your move, your future. See ya! Now that I'm done watching this video, I think you should check out this video. And you know what? Why don't you check out this video too?